preventative care in goaties. Obviously my favourite, as you know. This is Kylie. She's a bit of a madam. So she's a pygmy goat. And some of you, I think, I'm going to look to Michael, but I think some of you might have actually had a go at hoof trimming. It definitely would be a skill that we would like to teach you this year. So if nothing else, we'll show you through video tutorial. So every 8 weeks, roughly, Michael?
Yeah, about 8 to 10 weeks normally.
8 to 10 weeks. All goats are hoof trimmed. And you'll see Michael's doing a fabulous job. So he's got, they're called shears, look like big scissors, in his hands that are really sharp. So you have to be super careful. He's obviously protected himself with PPE because obviously, you know, it can be pretty mucky. So as well as obviously doing the hoof and making it flat, he's checking in between the hoof parts. And if he goes to do a second, what you'll see that obviously the tissue between wants to be a good healthy colour. He's having a sniff, as you know to do, and making sure there's no funky smells, and also checking the temperature of the hoof, because if it was hot, there could be an abscess or something behind. Do you want to do another one while we got to? You need to do all four while we got to.
That's fine. Do next one.
So yeah, that's really nice to actually see the whole process. So digging out dirt first. She's having a good wriggle, and you can see the outer hoof wall, can't you? Overgrows, and that's the bit. That's the bit that you just hurt yourself.
No, that doesn't hurt them when you.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't hurt them at all. So he's obviously using the, you know, I've obviously got the animal restrained. She's a bit dramatic, but he's holding the foot really nice and securely, and then clearing the dirt out. And you see how soft the hoof is because they're outside on a field. I'm just holding her leg to give her a bit more stability and stop her wriggling. And if you didn't do it, then obviously one of the major things that starts to happen is movement. I know difficulties, and can cause things like arthritis, etc. if you don't keep on top of it. So the heel is the bit at the back which he just snipped, and so that doesn't need as much kind of maintenance, but you can see the two sides of the hoof that overgrow, and then you've got the soft bit in the middle, which is ultimately your baseline. So that's what you're trying to get to the outer bits to match. Beautiful hoof.
When you do foot trim, you just need to make sure there's no gaps down the side wall of the hoof and the inner hoof. Normally, if you leave gaps in between the hoof and the overgrowth, that's normally an easy access for dirt and probably foot rot or an abscess to start growing and living in there if you left gaps at the side of the hoof wall.
So I'm just going to turn her around so we can easily access the other side. There we go. I know, you're doing really well.
Try and remember to cut away from yourself when foot trimming for your own safety.
Because she's going to do that.
Obviously you've got a pair of sharp shears in your hand, so you really want to have to cut towards yourself if you can avoid it.
I know. And definitely having somebody else restraining the animal.
You have to cut towards yourself sometimes. That was nice.
She just belched in your ear. Have you ever had a hoof in your eye? I have. When it flicks up and hits you in the eye.
That's the worst.
Yes, so that's now you're resting on his shoulder.
You know.
Cute.
So you can see inside there that hoof is nice and clean. There's no sores or anything, which you might find again, which would be a sign of foot rot, and it smells clean as well. You'd be able to smell it from the distance I am away from the foot now. There was any infection there.
And the other thing you're doing is kind of checking temperature as well. Kylie, you're just standing on me basically. She is just standing on me now.
Makes her happy.
Does make her happy and keeps her hooves nice and warm. doing? So obviously this is last one. This is the last foot, and
So
then we're going to look at.
You just want them kind of flat, nice and flat and even.
Can you talk about what happens if you go a bit too deep, Mike, and when how you know when to stop? Oh, sorry, I thought I was stalling while you were still giving.
So you know if you've gone too deep, normally it's a bit, I always say it's a bit like your fingernails. When you're cutting your own fingernails, there's a bloodline that runs below the overgrowth.
You see that lovely white colour?
And just below there,
It'll go pink.
There'll be a pink bloodline, so you know if you've gone a bit too short, you'll see the blood vessels start to appear. And to cure that, if you have caught them, you'll just use either a spot of foot rot spray or an antiseptic spray just to help stem the bleeding and just to stop any infections getting in through that cut you've made. It will be a bit stingy for a short while, but after a few minutes they'll be fine.
Are you spraying that?
We can give her a spray just as a preventative more than anything.
Okay.
Well,
Are you going to spray it all over me?
I'll try not to.
It's going to though, isn't it?
So with the spray, just get into the middle of the foot and give it a quick spray. This is more of a, there's nothing wrong with Kylie's feet, this is a preventative spray more than anything. Try not to get Polly. Okay. Yeah,
Witness. Witness, you not want you to do that one.
I didn't want that one doing.
I'll just pick her up while you do that one. My knees are really wet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good. 2 other treatments. So obviously her feet are now beautiful and well maintained. So 2 other treatments we're just going to kind of talk through and do a bit of a mock because she doesn't need them. It's not time yet, but I think again most of you have now fortunately had a go with this. So this is called, so that I should say is part of the other in terms of a method. So that hoof care is other in terms of a method. So this is an oral drench gun. This is a dewormer of which there's loads of different types of products. So the drench gun, not dissimilar from the rabbit, has that lovely nozzle on the end that goes down the side of the mouth, which Michael's going to demonstrate with Kylie, who's quivering because she's nervous.
So with this drench gun, they get so many mils of the drench per kilo of body weight. So you'd work out, you'd estimate roughly.
She's about 20,
yeah,
22.
You'd roughly,
not
estimate
20,
how heavy she is in.
20.
And then you
About 18,
look on the side of the bottle where it's got all your weights there that tell you. So if me and Polly think this one is 20 kilos.
She's just less than, I would say. She's
yeah.
probably about 18, 17.
So we would probably go. It says it's between 6 and 8 mil for a goat of around 20 kilos. So we could give it maybe 6.5, 7 mil, somewhere in between. So you're kind of in the middle of the dose range.
And you're better to give slightly higher than slightly lower, because otherwise you've got a really ineffective treatment. So you're not going to get rid of the worms. No, just mock it. So don't obviously just mock it so that they see how it's.
George, can you just hold this?
Yeah, so obviously don't pull the
So
trigger.
normally you'd have that on your shoulder or somewhere high for the flow of the liquid, and then
You hold the chin.
you cup
Obviously,
the chin like that with one hand, and then the gun goes. Let me do it. Into the mouth, down the side, all the way
and
to
then
the
you
bottom,
squeeze.
and then squeeze.
Good girl.
That wasn't very nice, was it?
And so again, in terms of regularity, so they need to, like the rabbits that we obviously did there. Hopefully you heard earlier, rabbits have to be done 3 times a year. And goats and sheep, do you do twice or do you do 3 times?
Twice, normally.
But you obviously do one around kidding.
Normally, yeah. When they've got to have it when they're first born, around 12 weeks old, and then again about 6 months later as a booster. And then if there is an ill animal and we're trying to work out one of the reasons why, then they might have an extra shot of wormer.
Yeah.
As a precaution, because worms will be upsetting, might be upsetting the tummy.
The last but not least one, while Kylie just reclines on me now, she's literally just lying on me. She might still be shaking because she's nervous. Again, we're going to just pretend, but just show you. So this is an ectoparasitic. So it's just one product among many. So like one of the spot-ons for mites that I said in rabbits, this one would prevent or kill mites that cause mange in goats, and that's one of the biggies that affects livestock, farm livestock. So it's given by injection. So we're just going to pretend to give a subcutaneous injection. We're going to teach that anyway, Mike, because fine. So subcutaneous injections on goats are given here just behind the front shoulder, and he's obviously not going to take the lid off. Again, it's based on a weight range normally. Don't take keep the pin on it.
Yeah,
you're not going to stick it. I'm going to say you're not going to just be extra dose.
So normally you would probably go either into the neck, or you'd find maybe on the.
Oh, you're giving intramuscular, not subcutaneous.
But you'd have to pinch and make a bubble, wouldn't you, to subcutaneous? So either neck or.
No, that's for muscle. Subcutaneous, you make a tent normally at the back of the.
It depends where she's got. All depends where she's got the most amount of
flesh.
Where she's got the most amount of flesh, because you need to make a tent on the area you're going to inject. So you don't just go straight in. So probably there. So just behind her front shoulder, you make a nice pinch mark there, and then you just got to be careful that you don't go through the other side of the wall of your little tent you've made, otherwise you have to re-inject them.
One of the best things to think if you're going, so subcutaneous is just under the surface of the skin, and if you keep in line with the skin and go down into your tent, then it can't go into the animal or further deeper than you want to. And you obviously just need to, again, make sure that you're safe and the needle's away from you. There's lots of different types of injection, but that's just one method, injection, to give an anti-parasitic for ectoparasites for a goat. End of preventative care with goats, as well as correct nutrition, exercise and husbandry, of course.